Hey everyone, we are going to finish up our banking basics unit for this week. Remember, it's May, lesson number 8. If you're logging into your student view, unique learning systems, May, lesson number 8. You also have a packet at home. I am not going through every page of the packet in these lessons. I went through every page last month. It's the same this month. If you have questions when we FaceTime or Zoom, you can ask or you can give me a call. Today, what we're going to do is pay a bill by writing a check. So we're going to watch the My Money lesson on writing a check and how to write a check. And then we're going to work together and use our banking basics packet to fill out a check, which is in the back of your packet. I'm just trying to find the page here to show you what it looks like. There are 2 checks in your packet, and you'll see them when I pull them up on the screen, but these are the 2 checks. This one is already filled out, and you just trace the numbers, and these are blank. So depending on what you are up for, you can either trace the number or completely fill out the check by looking at the sample. I'm going to do it on the screen for you as we do it. So we're either going to pay for rent or to get our air conditioner repaired. We'll find out. Before we start looking at our own bills, though, we're going to watch a video on how to write a check, because if we're going to do something, it's good to learn how to do it first. So here we go.
We went over checks at the beginning of the money and making a plan session.
Today, when we practice writing checks, remember these are simulated checks, which means they're pretend. They are not real. So your check is not going to have your name and address on it because they are pretend. If you have real checks, they will look just like this, and they will have your name, address, and information underneath. I'm going to pause this again to remind you that when we do our practice checks today, they look very different. So you're not going to see the name of a bank because our practice checks are not from a bank. They are pretend. And there is not an account number or a routing number at the bottom because they are not from a real account. So again, they're going to look very different because we're going to just practice filling out these blank lines on our checks. All right, I'm gonna pause for just a second because our checks have all of these lines. So we're gonna write the date. We're gonna write today's date, pay to the order of. When we look at the bill and see who the bill is from, that's gonna tell us who we're paying. So we're either gonna pay to Brett's AC shop to get our air conditioner fixed, or Hampton Apartments to pay our rent. We'll see which bill we pay today. And then the amount, are we gonna just make up an amount to put here? No, we're gonna look at our bill from the AC shop and we're gonna look at our statement for rent and we're gonna write the amount in here. I have some really cool cheat sheets that help you write out the words because this line is where we write out the amount, the dollar amount using words. So you might need a cheat sheet or something to look at to help you fill in this next line. One other thing not to allow on this sign your name line is don't allow someone else to use your name stamp. If you sign your name using a name stamp, the name stamp should be in your hand. And it's okay for someone to do hand over hand to sign, but you have to give permission. You have to say, yes, it's okay for me to sign. I'm gonna pause this here to give us a chance to look at it because we've been practicing answering these questions. When is the bill due? If we look up here, this is the information from his bill. May 15th, 2016. When is it due? When we're looking for a date. How much does he owe? How much? We're looking for a dollar amount. $80. Who do you write the check to? The company's name is Coast Electric. And then we're going to find out where we write out the words. Where would we put a note that this is for the electric bill? And where does Andy sign his name? Let's see. Well, we know we're paying Coast Electric. And the date is May 15th. The dollar amount is $80. And underneath here, remember, we have to write out the amount, $80 and 0.01. So no cents. Then we're gonna sign, and this is Andy signing. And the memo line is where you can write a note for what it's for. So if it was rent or groceries, you can write it here. And what was this for? It's for Andy's electric bill. When we look at our register on Unique Learning Systems, remember that it's just a simulated register. Remember, simulated is pretend, but we are practicing recording our checks and withdrawals. So money we put in, money we take out, and money we spend, just like Andy is in the video. And we're recording most of the same information. All right, we're gonna check out the how to use an ATM video later, but there are some other really great how-to videos on this website about money and some other great lessons. For now, we are going to skip over to our Banking Basics packet because you all received a copy of this in the mail. There we go. So you all received a copy of this in the mail, and you should be able to follow along with me. We're on Banking Basics, and we're on the page that says, don't forget to pay the rent. We have not done all of these pages because I want you to try to do some of them on your own. The packets are very similar each month, just like your bills should be very similar each month. Your rent should be due by about the same date every month. The amount should be the same every month. So this packet is very repetitive, so I'd like you to try to do it independently. And again, if you need help, you can log into Unique Learning Systems and check out their May lesson number 8 to practice doing this at home. Okay, don't forget to pay the rent. We've already talked about what could happen if you forget to pay the rent. So we better remember. We're gonna look at our bill. We're gonna pretend this is a bill we received in the mail. We opened the envelope and said, oh darn, another bill. Part of being a grown-up is paying our bills. This comes from Hampton Apartments. The address is 202 Main Street in Huron, Ohio. That's the city, Huron, and the state is Ohio. The zip code is 44839. I know a lot of us have been practicing saying the name of the city and state we live in. We all live in South Dakota, but what town or city do you live in? Oh, might be tricky. All right, rent is $475 and it is due by June 20th. So follow along with me, and you can pause after I read the question or try to answer it before I do. When is the bill due? When we say the word when, we know we are looking for a time or the name of a day or date. So I also see the word due. The bill is due by June 20th. Number 2, how much do you owe? When we say how much, we know we're looking for a number. We see a dollar sign, we're paying rent, so we know we're looking for a dollar amount. And right here, rent says $475. Sometimes we might see a word that says total or amount due, but this says rent, $475. And we got it right. And who do we write the check to? Now we get to practice writing a check. We write the check to the person we are paying, the person or company. And in this case, it's Hampton Apartments. Oh, I did not spell that right. That's okay, I can fix it. Hampton Apartments. Next, we're going to do this. This is a good habit to have. We're going to put the date to pay the bill on our calendar. And right here it says hint, plan for 5 days before the due date. That's because we want to remember to pay our rent early so it's on time so we don't get in trouble with our landlord. We could have to pay extra money or a fine, or we could lose our apartment. So we're going to try to pay it early. We're putting it on the calendar, then we're going to write the check and put the information in the register. So let's go to our calendar and go ahead and record that. Rent is due, I believe we said on the 15th. I think we said on the 20th, but we put 5 days earlier. So 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 days early. So we're going to pay our rent on June 15th. We know it's June 15th for pretend. So we're going to go ahead and write our check. And I need to find a check form for rents. Okay, I couldn't pull up the form on Unique Learning, but I was able to make my own little form on Google Slides over here. So we are going to practice writing a check to Hampton Apartments. I put a sample check up here. We already answered the questions, so we know what we're doing here. I'm going to look at the check above and see that it's $371. Remember, in our lesson, they said up here, it's going to have your name and address, and that is true. We won't have the check number here. It would be over on the other side of the check, but these are pretend checks for pretend bills for a pretend person. The date on our calendar, we decided that we were going to pay our rent on May 15th of 2020, even though it's not due until May 20th. And that's because we want to make sure our rent is paid on time so we don't have any late fees. And how do we know who to make our check out to? That's right, we look and see who the bill was from. And the bill was from our landlord. And our landlord, our property management, is called Hampton Apartments. Then we're going to write our dollar amount in, and usually you would be writing these by hand. So on the checks I sent you, you can write these out. Remember, you guys have, you have these papers at home, so you can either trace just the number or practice writing out the whole check. So this is $475, which is a pretty big bill, but that's our rent and where a lot of our money goes to. And then down here, we have to write it out in words. And remember, I said there are a lot of cool resources to help you spell out all of these words because it's a lot of words to remember how to spell. And I cannot spell them and talk at the same time. So obviously, I wrote 475. Then they put the plus sign. I like to write and $0, $100. That means 0 cents because there's 0 cents up here. And then 4, that's the memo line. You don't have to write anything there, but it's nice to write something so when you look back at your checks and what you paid money for, you can see what you spent your money on. And then this is the signature line. This is where you sign your name. Is it okay if I type your name or I sign your name? Whose bills are these anyway? Not mine, so I'm not gonna sign the check. But if this is my account and this was my bill, I would be the one signing the check. As soon as I was done writing it out and fixing all my spelling mistakes, oh my goodness gracious, I would switch over to my check register and record that right away so I can keep track. You can see our deposit, we did that together. And we also did our ATM withdrawal together. Hopefully you guys have been working on your packet and you have paid your utilities bill and your AC repair shop bill. I hope you've deposited, recorded your other paycheck. And now we're all the way up to the middle of March and paying our rent. So here we go. We've got the check number. It was our check 371, the date, the name of the place we wrote the check to, the amount, and that's a withdrawal. So we're taking it out of our account. And then we did the math. We subtracted that from our total. And that's what we've got left, over $3,000, which is good because we still have some bills left to pay. And I'd like you to continue working on those on your own. Tomorrow we will start talking about three-way planning, which is deciding if you're going to use your checking account, your savings account, or just the cash you have in your wallet to make a purchase. We'll talk to you soon. I hope you have a great day. Bye.